I know there's some attention paid to some language in the report about my recollection of events. There's even reference that I don't remember when my son died. How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business. I don't need anyone to remind me when he passed away or passed away.
That is, of course, President Joe Biden absolutely furious at some of what was included in the special counsel's final report on the classified documents case, at least the portion focusing on Joe Biden. And in it, the special counsel announced that he was not going to be pursuing charges over Joe Biden's handling of classified documents. So you might think that that's good news for the president. And perhaps that part of it is, but it also had a number of damning quotes about him being an elderly man with a failing memory. The fact that a jury would be unlikely to convict him, but just because he doesn't seem like he'd be able to remember what he was doing. It did not paint a great picture of Joe Biden's mental state. And reporters at that press conference obviously picked up on that. Here's a tough question for the president.
Something the special counsel said in his report is that one of the reasons you were not charged is because, in his description, you are a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. It's totally
bad is your memory, and can you continue as president?
My memory is so bad I let you speak. That's
your memory has gotten worse, Mr. President?
My memory is not good. My memory is fine.
Okay, I like that response. That was funny. I believe that was Peter Doocy, Brett. I think that was.
Yes,
but
that was very Doocy.
That was very Doocy, and he hit him, and that's good. He showed a little bit of fire over some of the references to him forgetting some specific facts, including when his son had tragically died. He says, I know what the hell I'm doing, which is good. He tries to refocus the conversation away from his memory and more on what he's been able to do as president to put the economy back on a more solid footing. So look, I think that part of the response was good, but obviously the quotes are now out there. They're not going anywhere. And look, we have to keep it real. Like whether the comments that the special counsel made were perfectly fair or not, and perhaps we'll debate that, Biden, even in that press conference, which was expressly designed to reassure people of his mental acuity, made a couple of slip-ups, and the overall affect, the level of energy was not particularly high. Like if your stated goal was to make it so that nobody could buy that you're a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory, I don't know if you come out of that press conference necessarily think that the special counsel's wrong on that. Whether that has any effect on your vote or should is a very different matter. But what do you think about the press conference and what it might have done to allay these concerns about his memory?
I don't think anyone is going to open-mindedly watch that press conference and change their mind about any of this. That's what it comes down to. In terms of whether Biden was able to accurately convey to me whether he has good memory or not, like his burns were great burns for a 400-year-old man. That is all I can expect. He didn't use the word whippersnapper, and the actual and that's the thing. It's like the way Biden carries himself. He seems like the kind of guy that you do need to like. He needs to take a couple naps, you know. And he's the kind of person about whom you say his mornings are better than his evenings. Yeah, like it's just what he comes across as. Now, a lot of us voted for him because they preferred someone who was just like, all right, let's get the job. Let's wake up early, mow the America's lawn, get the chores done, and then go to sleep and make sure nothing like terrible explodes. Has he been good at that? No, but a lot of the groundwork for that was set under Trump anyway. But Trump was taking us on a path that was horrible at the time. We got a new guy in there. He just happened to be very old.
Yeah, 100%. We'll definitely be talking about some of the hypocrisy on that in a little bit. But I love the idea that like it's a more appropriate burn for like the tortoise in the swamp of sadness in the never-ending story, or Mitch McConnell, perhaps. Maybe it would be more appropriate for that. Now, in the pre-port today, I did a little bit of fact checking of some of the claims that Joe Biden made in that press conference that were not entirely true. But I want to fact check one thing that is like frustratingly common and not accurate. So look, a lot of the conversation in terms of news coverage, headlines about this shifted pretty quickly from the most important takeaway of this, which is that Joe Biden is not going to be facing charges. Nobody cares about that anymore. But to the extent that they did, a lot of the headlines, and not just from right-wing rags or whatever, were saying things like that Biden, quote, willfully retained and disclosed classified materials after his vice presidency when he was a private citizen. And to be fair to those who put that in a headline, the special counsel does say something like that very early on in the report. But later on in the report, he also says there is in fact a shortage of evidence on these points, specifically about whether it was willful. So like, it kind of reminds me of the Mueller report where you had Bill Barr come out days before the report comes out and then say, here is what I would very much like you to all take away from this. The report then comes out, does not say the same thing, but it's already sort of baked into the popular consciousness. So now the right wing can run with this and say he did it on purpose when the special counsel himself implies that it might not have been willful. Maybe that's a minor thing when so many people are obviously way more jazzed about the stuff about Biden's brain. But I think that that's a weird thing that the media participated in, and I wish that they had. Any quick comment on that?
Yeah, I just don't think whether there's evidence of something or not has ever stopped right-wing media from making a very bold claim about it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing playing out. Of course, they're going to do that. Now it's incumbent on our side or the other side or the side of reality to communicate that effectively. And so and that happens. That's happened in the past where like a little line that you've highlighted in your graphic, like circulate that and you get that like fun little like, well, the McDonald's hot coffee wasn't about a woman who was complaining about her coffee being too hot. They spilled it on her. No one talks about that, but you got to know that.
Yeah, that's a deep cut. I like it though.
Jordan corrected me on that the other day, so I'm fresh.
Yeah. And sort of parodied on Seinfeld as well. That kept it in the popular consciousness for a bit. Anyway, with that said, regardless of what you think of Biden, state the right is, as Brett said, pouncing on it.